Just kidding, guys. We're not waiting 2 minutes. They're ready right now. Welcome, everybody, to the 4-Digit World Cup semifinals, the second to last match of the weekend, but the last winner's bracket match. The United States, Seed 1, versus Canada, Seed 4. I'm fieryrage, going to be joined by ChillierPear for this final winner's bracket semifinals match, where they're already getting through the bans. We're kind of late, unfortunately, but at the very least, we can tell you exactly what they're banning. No mod 6, no mod 4, hidden 1, no bans wasted at all. They're just going right in.
Immediate banning and getting in. Now, a lot of these players are hot off of another match. For those of you that have come over here from Sweetie Spring Cup Grand Finals, you would know that there are quite a few players in here that were participating in that match who did just have to play a bracket reset. So that may have an effect on this match. Now, whether or not that's a positive effect or a negative effect because you're tired after a bracket reset or because you are absolutely ready to go from playing 2 separate matches, we will leave to be said. But we have a 1st seed versus a 4th seed matchup right now with the US and Canada. The United States are reigning champions of 4-Digit World Cup from last year and the year before that, and many years prior to that as well. Canada fighting for one of their highest placements in 4-Digit World Cup ever this year. They certainly have one of the best rosters that they've had in 4-Digit World Cup in a very long time, and they basically just need to make it through the United States in order to materialize that. This match will guarantee a top 3 placement for one of these 2 teams.
Yeah, and we're already done with the ban phase just like that. Hidden, basically entirely gone. Hidden 2, the ban from Canada, and the immediate no mod 3 pick coming in from Canada. We're going to be just getting right into the match. No waiting around necessary.
No prep needed, nothing else to be done here. Just lock through. Canada, yes, was second the last 2 years in a row, but like I said, they are looking for their best placement in 3-Digit World Cup, and it does all start with this match. It becomes increasingly difficult, of course, if you fall to the loser's bracket in the semifinals, because that means that basically only puts you at top 6, and you need to now fight through 2 more matches to even get back to the same point as that top 3. So to make it to winners bracket finals is a major advantage for overall placements, and it would put Canada right up against the side of where they would want to be. It certainly wouldn't be the first time Canada has defeated the United States in the winners bracket of a World Cup. If we're taking a look at the OS World Cup 2 years ago now, I believe, where the Canada OWC team did that, well, now it's the 4WC team's turn to try and take a stab at that. The United States has a great team this year, as usual, as does Canada. A lot of returning players for both sides here, some of which are playing absolutely stellar today. For those of you that came over from Sweegie 1, Dario having an unbelievable day on hidden maps and aim control. The United States, I think, is just going to be ready as usual. Eddie, one of the best players on the Grand Finals today for their team as well. Both of them playing exceptionally. Going to be joined by Schwartz, RNG, and Batball, so that Luna Stabby up at the top there. And then, yep, Zucchini 1, Dario, and Ramindra down on the bottom for Canada there. Good luck, have fun's coming out. First map, it's going to be Glitter, the No Mod 3 Canada looking to get their first point.
Yeah, you were mentioning that most of these players are well known. Some of these players could be in the OS World Cup. That's how good they are.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think a couple of the United States ones I know in particular were considered for past rosters. So it is literally.
I think. Has Yip played OWC? I feel like Yip has.
He has. He has played in
Yip
OWC
has definitely
before.
played OWC. Yeah. So we're looking at strong rosters here. A lot of these players, too, if you catch them in other regional tournaments or otherwise, all very experienced, all very well-versed in tournaments. I mean, there is a reason that this is a Seed 1 versus Seed 4 matchup, and there is a reason that the United States and Canada are 2 of the most powerful teams in 4-Digit World Cup for many years running now. As we see a couple of early breaks come out from both sides here, a couple more coming out from Canada. Definitely not what you want to see at the start of the map, but the United States does still have an opportunity to trade out a few of those as RNG and Eddie try and now hold it down against just Zucchini on Canada with the recovery combos as RNG now drops. It is now a 1v1 through the first quarter.
Very solid recovery from both Wandario and Yip as well, so combo advantages in favor of Canada by a pretty considerable margin. We'll be shifting over to them. Fourth on the map done. Everyone chilling out in the slow section. No breaks to speak of here as we get into the next hard part relatively shortly. And by relatively shortly, I mean probably in the next minute, hopefully. I'm not familiar with the song. I am familiar that this is an alt map. Okay, here we go.
This is a jam of a song right now. And Canada is really making it work for them right now. We're still matching those full combos on Zucchini and Eddie right now, about the same accuracy for the two as well, a little bit higher for Zucchini. But the supporting combos for Canada are really what are standing out for them right now. The recoveries are unbelievable on really both sides here, actually. Batball and Remindra going to be the two to drop the two major combos there. But as Luna Stabby drops the one for the United States there, that 270,000 score lead for Canada is only going to increase, as that is now a 3 to basically 2 on the full combos here. Yip does miss at the ending one. Dario matching RNG, Zucchini matching Eddie, and Canada looking dominant for their first map.
Eddie and Zucchini looking to close out FC. Zucchini won't, but Eddie will.
Oh, the wiggle got Zucchini at the end. That little double snap pattern, just barely under aiming. Well, Eddie will have the only FC in the lobby. Unbelievable accuracy on multiple players in here as well. Zucchini, Remindra, single-digit 100 count, as well as RNG, Batball, and Eddie. Just higher miscount for the United States overall there. In Canada, they know exactly what they're doing in this situation. They know how to put the United States down early, and their first pick was not what I would consider contested. That is a major score difference on map 1.
The United States to pick next. They were scared of Tech in particular. If they banned No Mod 4 and Hidden 1, they're scared of Canada's Tech roster, so I don't imagine we're going to be seeing anything crazy. We're most likely going to be sticking with fairly generic maps, like the speed maps, for example, DT2. First pick.
Well, we are in for the United States' Gambit. This is sort of their thing for most 4-digit World Cups, is that they will out-mechanics most teams. And given the roster this year, and given the nature of this Double Time 2 being very stamina-favored and very, very tapping-focused, only for 2 minutes and 19 seconds, but it is draining. This gives them a pretty good opportunity to entry onto this map, but you can't count Canada out on a stamina DT. They have an unbelievable roster for double time picks, as what I would consider one of the best tournament teams in the tournament for this skill set, actually, aside from the United States. And we've seen some teams with great scores this weekend here, especially Poland. If you watched the match earlier today versus Sweden, they played out of their minds on this map.
It's a classic dash 45 in the double time 2 pool. You've seen this before in other tournaments, most likely. This is literally the stamina artist of choice for multiple different reasons. The main reason being the fact that there is constant 1/4 rhythm.
Well, not too much to really describe about this map. I think minus 45 DT2 sort of speak for themselves. It's going to test your stamina. This map does have a couple of cuts in it that may catch you off guard, but otherwise we are really looking for that stamina maintenance here, and my eyes immediately drawn to pretty much every player on the United States here. Now, from my era of tournaments, my eyes are drawn to Toki. Toki was the type of player who would go into a tournament match and FC We Love Llama. The reason I use that as a reference is because, yes, he did literally do that in a tournament one time, years ago, by the way, and he has maintained this position in 4-digit World Cup in order to solely have the purpose of absolutely dominating teams on stamina-based maps. Now, that is not to count out Canada at all. Jumara and Remindra, two unbelievable stamina players in this lobby here. Birchman and Wandario maybe a little bit behind those two in terms of how comfortable they're going to be, but it will be decent backing.
Fairly lengthy double time map that is all but stamina draining, so we'll see who has the better stamina. For right now, pretty even across the board, at least in terms of the accuracy differences.
It's a little bit higher in favor of Canada right now, and that's just by an overall team difference. Eddie struggling down at 97% for the US, as well as Birchman, 97 for Canada. It's really going to be about not necessarily even whose stamina dies first, but who misaims. It's going to be Jamara, actually, to miss on a slider pattern there. Speed player misses on the aim and the stamina map, unfortunately, and that is a break that I was not expecting to see for Canada, one of the better players for this map.
And unfortunately, that is quite literally the only miss. Eddie finally trades it halfway through. Ramindra is also going to be trading that miss, though, so things are going to be staying right where they are as we get into the death stream section here. No one having any issues with it. Ramindra missing once again, though. Eddie and Wandario trading. This is looking all but said and done in favor of the United States, holding on to 3 FCs. Very good accuracies from all 3 of them. Not really too much to say here.
As we run through this next stamina section here, one of the harder bits of the map, and we don't see any major breaks on the side of the United States, continuing to look strong on their pick right now. A little lower accuracy than we maybe would have expected for them. Birchman going to be the one to hold things down for Canada right now, but he's going against an onslaught of a double FC bat ball breaking, but not before hitting that 980,000 score mark. In Canada, really just not an avenue into that one. 1.121 million for the United States, and well, they're the #1 seed for a reason. I told everyone here that mechanics is their game, and they came to play today. The United States a double FC on the DT2. Canada, Birchman trying to hold it down, but just a few too many breaks on the rest of the roster there as Canada falls to the United States for their first pick, keeping this match nice and even early.
Yeah, I imagine with how lopsided that is, the United States is just going to be continuing to pick into sort of stamina-intensive and speed-intensive maps, much like that, or aim-intensive. So pretty much everything that is not gimmicky is on the table for them. No Mod 1, no Mod 5, no Mod 2, DT1, DT3, any of those are valid picks for the US. Meanwhile, on the side of Canada, bit of an interesting decision here. Do you want to opt for something like the free mods or the hard rocks? Or just go with the remaining hidden?
I'm interested to see where Canada does go early here. I think it's going to be tough to pick out what their strategy is early. They looked really good on the No Mod 3, so something a little bit more tech-oriented in the pool. Free Mod 3 is one of the hardest maps in the pool, but it does sort of play along the same lines, maybe a little bit less snappy, more flow aim oriented for that. They are going to go for the Hard Rock 3, so it is going to be early HR for Canada. This does usually tend to be something they're quite good at as well, and a bit more of an unconventional map, going to continue the trend of staying away from mechanics.
First custom map in this pool that we've been seeing picked is going to be English rock band number 5125. I just Dance Gavin Dance, fun band, always nice to see them in tournament map pools, and usually always fairly good at delivering alt-oriented songs, which this map is, so.
This is such a classic DGD song. I don't even think this is that old, to be honest. I think this is more of a modern DGD song. Is this from the same album? I'm not even going to bother looking right now. It's going to take me too long. It's going to be an interesting early pick for Canada going into the Hard Rock now. I do think that there are a lot of avenues that they could take a match early on, and opening up with the Hard Rock is a really strong point for them that they maybe could have saved until a little bit later on in the match, but maybe they just want to get right out of the gate here, not holding anything back against the United States. There really is no reason to in the semifinals as well. It is still only best of 11, and there's not a lot of breathing room. Starting off strong.
in case you were wondering what album this is from Happiness, so the same album as NASA I'm Down with Browntown, which is ranked, I believe.
Yep. I think it is. I'm like almost 100% sure.
Just waiting on the last member of the Canadian roster to hop in. Or rather, the United States roster, I suppose. There we go.
Here we go into the Hard Rock. Canada gonna give us our first taste of what they are made of this year in terms of their Hard Rock ability for this match. As we start to get into these later stage pools, things start to get a little bit more comfortable for them, and we start to really see what these later phases are going to hold for the future of Canada's roster here. Some of these space patterns, a little bit wiggles, very uncomfortable for them, not conventional whatsoever. And like we mentioned earlier, Canada trying to avoid the mechanics versus the United States. They are going to find two early breaks. Dark Karate and Ramindra going to find some early misses here. Eddie going to be the one to trade that out on the United States. We're still only a quarter of the way into the map, so these breaks are going to matter, but they're not going to determine the fate of the map, as Indiana has now missed, and Canada once again has that combo advantage. As long as these FCs are matching each other, it's going to be a comfortable spot for them. All eyes on Yip for Canada right now. Higher accuracy than the entire lobby by a very significant margin. Toki and RNG, both very good Hard Rock players, but they're going to have to put some serious work in.
The issue is that Eddie and Indiana, with those misses, additionally have dropped below 96% accuracy, so their score is being hampered quite considerably, even without those misses. It's just going to keep going in favor of Canada as Indiana finds another drop. Granted, one of the best drops that you could have had in the United States case. Karate and Jamara are going to be trading. One of the FCs down on the side of Canada will be giving the score lead back over to the United States. Going to need maybe a bit more. Eddie dropping. Ninja as well. That is actually massive. Combo lead now very solidly in favor. Never mind. There it goes. Okay. It's right back. Just right back into it. RNG holding on to the Seoul FC now as Yip finds a miss. Score lead shifts over to the United States, but it is all on the back of Mr. RNG, Mr. Hot Dog 4000. Looking to solidify this point in favor of the United States and get them their first break point. Still a fourth of the map remaining, and this score lead isn't too big. There isn't really that much combo outside of him, so he needs to hold this throughout the rest of the ending.
I think this is sort of what you kind of come to expect from RNG, the best player on the United States team this year, I think, in basically everyone's mind, sort of the replacement for a lot of the players that they lost last year, such as Pez. The United States always has a player like this, I feel like, every year, and well, RNG, we talked about a lot of those players that were prospects for OWC. Yeah, RNG was one of them, and probably is one this year, depending on how the rest of this tracks through, and it is just looking even better for them into the ending here. 1.024 million basically misses right at the ending. It is
what a miss.
Score. That is a crazy place to miss right at the ending there.
He missed on the last note of a triple.
That is insane. That is like... That's like minus 4,000 aura at the end. No, I'm just kidding. That is...
I'd argue it gives more aura, honestly.
It might. That's a very emotional miss right there, honestly. Like, and the funny part is the score is still pretty high, 1.025 million because of the accuracy. What a play from RNG. In the United States, well, the number one seed starting to strut their stuff. We saw this a little bit earlier today with Poland versus Sweden. Poland being the number 3 seed, winning that match, only dropping a single point to Sweden. You start to hit semifinals, and these top-seeded teams really start to lock in on the skill cap picks. They really start to show how comfortable they are across the board, and this is where things start to sort of come together.
What aim map are we going to be seeing? Take your bets. Or are we just going to be seeing Nomad 5? Because that's also probably a possibility. I'm thinking Nomad 1.
We are looking for more confidence from the US. And Double Time 3 is where they're going to find it on Nelv. One of the highest skill cap maps in the pool, I'd say. Not necessarily mechanically oriented per se in terms of the patterning, but given the overall BPM of this pick mixed with the shorter length means that it's a little bit more volatile for teams that aren't comfortable at this level of speed. 263 is pretty high overall, and we've seen a lot of teams struggle immensely on this map with the accuracy due to the overall requirement that it has for your fingers and the aim, given how snappy it is. Everyone knows how the original Nelv is mapped. This one is sort of similar, but DT, it's very snappy, it's very back and forth, very hard to hold a combo with some of the sliders here. It has absolutely demolished some great DT players this weekend, so this is really where we're going to start to show off the skill cap.
Worth mentioning, one of the United States roster already has a DTFC on this score v1, and it being Indiana, who I imagine we'll be seeing in shortly. But yeah, as you were mentioning, one of the harder maps in the pool. One of the shorter ones as well, minute 40 seconds after TT is applied.
Looking for the rosters to get set on Nelv right now. Birchman, Jamara, Zucchini, Eddie, Indiana, Batball. Expecting Toki in for the United States, Ramindra in for Canada as the last two. I would be remiss to not see one of the best speed players on either team in for the sides. United States taking a little bit longer to get their last player in here, but sort of expected that it would be Toki on. I think the United States pretty set for their double time roster in most scenarios in this tournament by now. It's semifinals weekend, and I think teams really start to figure out who's going to be in for what pretty consistently, especially, again, as the skill cap starts to increase, you start to see some of the same players over and over again because you know who's going to be able to replicate the performance. And, well, this is going to be it for these two teams, I think, on all these DTs today. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing at least one more of them throughout, but this could be a major turning point. If Canada's able to put up some good scores through their DT roster here, it is going to help them out. But again, that skill cap for the United States has been such a major point for them. It's hard to not give them an advantage on their own pick.
Well, no one having fun in the accuracy department in the early stages here outside of Batball. Early miss from Ramindra, and it's the only miss so far, but the accuracy difference is definitely there. It is definitely a thing that is happening currently.
Well, this is what we expected, I think, as of right now for the United States. The four-way full combo, almost Batball. Gonna find a break as well as Toki in that double section right there. An unfortunate drop for the United States, actually. They have put up a very significant score lead, but it's certainly not going to be comfortable if they drop one more.
With that said, though, not much map remaining, and Canada's going to need all the combos they can get, and unfortunately, Ramindra dropping right before that break, not going to be helping things.
They needed that to even have a chance of coming back into this. Birchman, once again, the one to match the full combos on the side of the United States. And there does go Indiana, but Eddie to hold the combo through. Going to match Birchman. Toki matching Zucchini right now. If Ramindra held the combo earlier, there may have been some semblance of a chance for Canada. But even then, these performances for the United States just far too strong overall. And I don't think there was much they could have done as the United States closes out their next pick. pulling in that breakpoint 400,000 score victory for them. An S rank for Eddie, not a single miss. One miss across the board for every player in the lobby who didn't have 0 misses. And, well, this is the winner's bracket difference, everyone, right here. These performances on this DT, that is a total of 5 misses for both teams.
No one having a fun time in the accuracy department outside of 3 players, but it gets the job done. United States solidifies their breakpoint, and the last double time map that they have to worry about in terms of speed at the very least. Nomad 5 is still open, though. Now Canada on the wire. They really need this. They need this next pick. Otherwise, they're looking down a 2 breakpoint deficit, and the United States still has that speed pick. So they're going to be going into Gimmick, kind of unsurprisingly. Free Mod 2, the anti-mod pick of the free mod pool. The only time you are ever going to see a live song timed properly and put into a map pool.
Impossible scenarios. Was it worth it? Was it worth it?
Probably not. I imagine the accuracies are going to be very bad.
Yeah, the perfect timing, very difficult to get right when you're playing it through. It's almost better to not perfectly time it, because that is just... just tough. It's tough. We had a couple maps in OWC last year as well, where, like, I think it was on Azer's map in Fremont or Hard Rock a little bit later in the tournament, and he was like, oh, I can map it a little bit more perfectly for timing, but it actually doesn't play quite as well when you map it timed perfectly. You almost want it to have a little bit more looseness to it so that you don't have to be spot on for everything. Speaking of Azer, his first appearance in this match will be right now.
Finally. Old man comes into play.
Azer free mod 2, let's go.
The free mod rules, for those unfamiliar, you are going to need at the very least 1 hidden or easy and 1 hard rock mod. And you need to total up to 4 mods in total, with 3 players per team needing to choose a mod. Actually, I'm not too sure if they need to add up to 4 mods in total, but 3 players do need to choose a mod, so at most you're going to be seeing 1 no mod.
I feel like I am, like, unintentionally blanking on how many mods players have taken for the matches this weekend, because I've watched a bunch of them and commentated some already, and I've already forgotten the mod requirements.
Respect.
I feel like it's not 4. I feel like I've seen no mods. Does RNG?
Yeah, it's definitely not 4, because we're seeing a couple of unique mod combinations out here. We got Hard Rock, Uzumaki, Hidden, Luna's Tabby, and Toybot. Toybot and Wandario both taking the easy. Azer not going to be taking Hidden only. Hidden Hard Rock for him. Karate on the Hard Rock, so 1 no mod per team and 1 easy per team. Should be very interesting. Also worth noting, this is one of the weakest multipliers for easy I think we've seen in this tournament so far. Easy on this is a 1x multiplier, so what you see is literally what you get here.
Yeah, that is true, actually. Dead even to rights on these scores right now, and I'm excited to see what Wandario and Toybot put up for these easy scores. Wandario put up an FC, actually, in Sweegie Grand Finals on an easy free mod just moments ago before this match. And for those of you that are United States players, you absolutely know that Toybot is extremely good at easy maps overall. And depending on which of these 2 teams has better backing is going to make all of the difference between these 2 teams here, as Luna Stabby finds the first break for the United States on the wide-angle aim, as well as Uzumaki Canada now with not an ounce of a lead, as Dark Karate and Azer both break.
Toybot does trade it though, so 2 FCs to just the 1 on RNG. Nomad FC going up against Nomad FC and Easy FC. It's probably a decent case scenario for RNG, because if that's Nomad FC does drop, that Easy FC is going to be handicapped, which RNG is not going to have. But for right now, it's going to be pretty solidly in favor of Canada as we approach the halfway point.
RNG versus the world right now. Yip and Juan Dario both matching up. Yip with higher accuracy on the Nomad as well. We are now halfway through, 170,000 score in favor of Canada. They have one unchecked FC right now, which will be double score on top of that. Azer does find another break alongside Dark Karate. Uzumaki trades one of those breaks out, which does give the United States a bit of an advantage in the overall combo department with Toybot and Lunai Stabby being matched up, but that 1/3 does catch out a lot of the hidden players there, as it is now Toybot standing alongside RNG. This could still be rather close fire if we see a break from Yip or Juan Dario. It is still possible, but there goes RNG, and Canada has basically secured the point off that.
That is an immediate 100k score flip, even with Yip missing immediately after.
Yep.
That just went immediately in the other direction.
Look at Juan Dario, though. 5 big booms for Juan Dario right now. The second Easy FC in a tournament match of the day. Can we see the duplicate performance once again? All of these overlapping patterns, the dense stream switches, 99.2% accuracy, uncontested in his effort to drag Canada to an unbelievable victory. I want to let you know Canada is 430,000 score in the lead, but that is added 200 and something K on top of that. No, it's not. It's doubled up, so we're good. But that's still amazing. That's like 500,000 score lead for Canada. Juan Dario, full combo with Easy. That's number
Good
2
work.
for the day. That's number 2.
Great job. One miss from Yip on the Nomad as well. Overall, very solid team score from Canada. No one really struggling too much on that. 400k is the lowest score from Azer on the hidden Hard Rock, which even then, you have to consider this is CS7 with Hard Rock. That is still pretty dang good. And United States not going to waste any time. There it is. Nomad 5, speed pick. Goodbye. This map has been seen in a couple of tournaments. This has been a custom map, I believe, for Corsace, if I'm not mistaken. Corsace or OWC, one of those two. This is 240 BPM bursts. Not really too much to say. If you're good at speed, you'll like this map. If you're not...
Struggle map right here. That is exactly what this is. We have seen people absolutely get demolished on this level of stamina, and I really don't think this match is going to be any exception. We are going to have some people that are not going to have a very fun time on this map. And, well, the United States, and given how much we've talked up their consistency overall when it comes to mechanics and stamina ability, well, this is sort of their zone, and it is not a place that you want to walk into unprepared. And while Canada is certainly going to have a decent time on this sort of thing, based on what we've been looking at from the United States in this match thus far, this is sort of a tried and true skill set for them. There's really not going to be much back and forth here.
It's in more or less the same rosters as we saw in DT2, but with how the USA has been looking on speed, this is pretty heavily favored towards them, I would say.
Yeah, I would, as much as I want to remain, like, impartial before a map starts, I feel like the United States have done too well of a job proving themselves on, like, raw tapping mechanics that I can rightfully give Canada, like, some concessions in this, because I feel like that's taking it away from the United States and, like, the dominant performances that they have set to precede themselves when it comes to this skill set. So I think it's less about, wow, Canada's not good at this, and more, if I say the United States is anything less than stellar at this skill set, I would be lying. Now, again, Birchman has been unbelievable on every DT in this tournament thus far, especially in this match. Ruminjara and Jamara have been having a little bit more difficult of a time on some of the aim-oriented double-time picks in here, so hopefully a Nomad stamina pick will maybe be a little bit more comfortable for them, but again, look at all these aim patterns in here. You do have to wonder, for the conventional speed-tapping player, do those make the difference, and does that give the United States their consistency that they're wanting to hold on to for this map? We shall see.
fairly lengthy Nomad 5-2, 3 minutes long, so doing this for 3 minutes. Hopefully your fingers can do this, or you are just going to be dead by the end of this. So far, pretty even. Batball, the only miss that's going to really affect things for right now, but the accuracy lead is well in favor of the United States, which is going to be halting Canada's comeback, especially with that miss from Jamara, who already did miss prior, granted, but...
Well, continuing to work through on the stamina of this map right now. Everyone's sort of maintaining pretty well across the board here. Again, couple breaks on the aim sections of this map. Jamara and Batball getting caught off. It's a three-way full combo, essentially, for both of these teams here as we get into some more of the stamina-intensive sections. A couple more long streams in between some of these bursts, but when you're at 240 BPM stamina, anything that's longer than, 8 or 9 notes starts to become stamina intensive in a map this long. It is going to be Birchman to drop a combo for Canada, and that's not going to be an amazing scenario for them, as they're already down 100,000 score on one of the most difficult mechanical maps in the entire pool this weekend, if not the most difficult, as Eddie, Indiana, and Toki continue doing their thing. There goes Wandario as well. That leaves just Remindra to stand on their lonesome here as the United States has the recovery on Batball. The 3 FCs still standing, and, well, this is their game. We told everyone not to count them out on this. Remindra finding the break, and the United States is just absolutely eating this map alive as expected.
Yeah, and I think even Canada can't really figure out what they're meant to do here. Because both Wandario and Remindra are just kind of in disbelief. I can't really blame them. Batball is so far the only miss on the side of the United States, and even then, he's still holding on to a 1,000 on 100 combo.
Did Indiana miss early? I think they did. Look, they're like 40 combo down, too. But it's basically an FC. Look at the ACK, too. 98.2% accuracy. That is more than making a... They don't have a full combo, and they are almost besting Eddie and Toki on the FCs. Because of 1% accuracy.
What is worth mentioning, I think this was used in OWC at one point, and I do remember, I think the United States OWC team got a 4-way on this. So it speaks volumes that the 4WC team is, well, not anymore because Toki missed, but still holding basically 2 FCs on this map.
Batball almost just one missed and then FC'd the entire remainder of the map. He's basically missed twice on aim and hit all of the stamina patterns in there. Meanwhile, Eddie ended up being the only full combo in the lobby, but Indiana's accuracy, stellar as it was, a singular miss, 98.26% accuracy. And, well, what do you even do against that if you are Canada? There is a very, very long road to get back into a map like that.
Well, on the bright side for Canada, no more speed picks remain, so they're not going to have to, at the very least, deal with that anymore. But they are still going to need a breakpoint at some point in this match. Free Mod 3 is going to be the next pick for Canada, sticking with the free mod pool. Not too surprising since this is a tech-oriented pick.
This is one of those maps that I was sort of talking about earlier as one of the more technically difficult maps in the pool. It's very snappy. It's very high intensity. There's a lot of very dense, snappy patterns in here that have a lot of opportunity to find unfortunate breaks on if you're not fully prepared for them, but we've also seen a lot of players have a really good time on this map, which does mean that it's comfortable. So even though it's technically intensive and it requires a lot of focus, it's a very comfortable map, and that's very good for the players, and there are many of them who are great at this skill set in this lobby. And I do think that this is an opportunity for Canada to take a really good point given their overall roster here, especially against the United States, who has some good tech players on their roster, but I do think that this year's United States roster is maybe not as strong on tech as it has been in previous years.
It's going to be put to the test here after they banned out double tech maps. You're seeing Azir, Wandario, Karate, and I imagine most likely yip in as the last player for Canada. Zucchini instead, going to be coming in for Canada. United States roster, Lunas Tabby, Toybot, RNG, Batball. This is kind of interesting. If we do see some easies come out, since easy has a 2.8x multiplier on this, by far a much larger easy multiplier than anything in this pool. So if you can play easy, that is something that you can opt to go for if you so choose.
I am intensely interested in how this map is going to work, and you know, the length plays a part in it too. We're under 2 minutes at this level of intensity on a free mod pick, and I think that makes this very volatile for these two teams. There is. Oh my gosh. Oh my. I mean, I saw it coming, I feel like, but it's still crazy to see. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Luckily, that score difference is already going to be accounted for in the score bar that you see below. So we're not going to have to do some manual calculations. It's already all done below.
Big difference on that hidden hard rock for Dark Karate as well. That's a difficult mod combo for this map here. I mean, you're getting the density requirement of having hidden on and no approach circles, as well as the smaller snappiness that hard rock brings, and well, it's already causing a couple of problems here. Batball dropping on the other hard rock for the United States though, so nothing too bad here. That's one miss on Toybot, one miss on Batball. Dark Karate and Wandario also trading out, so it's RNG, Lunai Stabby versus Zucchini and Azer, the two to hold it down for Canada right now. Both players who have been looking pretty good in this match so far. Zucchini had a great time earlier on the Nomad 3, actually, and looking to hold this one. Not going to hold the full combo, though, as Azer drops alongside him, and that's bad for Canada there. Toybot drops his combo, but Lunai Stabby and RNG both holding this one for the United States as Canada falls very far out of this.
This easy play is actually kind of ridiculous.
This is really good.
You have to take into account the score that he has there, 220k, that's not multiplied. It is multiplied in the overall score difference, but it's not multiplied there. So what he has right now is basically a 600k.
Yeah, that is...
This is kind of stupid.
This is insane, because this map is already dense and already hard to read without easy. Slider breaks, I don't actually think that was a miss. I think that was a slider break. So this is unbelievable. That ball finds another break. Everyone else in the lobby is resetting. It's a 500,000 score lead for the United States. There is literally no opportunity for Canada to win this map, as Lunai Stabby is going to cursor dance through the end of the map. Oh my god, did you please tell me that was not a one miss off of the cursor dance at the ending?
No.
Oh, too bad. Okay. I thought it was a slider break up to that. I was like, that would be tragic. Look at the ACK, though. 9 100s, even at that density.
And that's where the easy multiplier comes in handy, as that 372k score is a 1,041,000 score.
Yup, there we go. There we go. That's insane. I don't even know what to say on that one. The United States just got to match point in absolute style, break point with basically the closest thing you can get to like a 1v3 from Schwartz.
Yeah, if you are good at easy, you can take advantage of that very much. And they did. Worst case scenario for Canada now, they need 2 breakpoints starting with this next United States pick. Luckily, they don't have any more speed, but they do have more than enough mechanics maps to go around, and DT1 is going to be the first option for them.
Banger. Banger time. And it's going to be another strong point for the United States. They're a good DT team, they're a good stamina team, they're a good mechanics team. Well, now we're kicking it up to 10.3 aim, 249 BPM, 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Again, not super long as well. So the margin of error is the word I am looking for, is very low on a lot of these maps that are quite short. So the United States already having a mechanical advantage on a map where you can't really afford to have too many misses, and Canada, unfortunately, as good as their DT roster is, has really struggled on the aim aspect of the DT maps thus far in this match, and, well, this map is all of that. So not really sure what to include for these two teams other than the expectation is the United States to really play well on this map. Canada gonna do their best to try and stay with things here on this DT. Again, their roster for speed has, you know, shown up in some senses today, but again, having a little bit of trouble just maintaining the consistency throughout these maps, and that's sort of been the name of the game for the United States as they work their way through these, as it is now 5-2. And they look to potentially close this match out and get themselves a top 3 guarantee, sending Canada down to the losers bracket.
The other DT picks have gone in their favor by quite a considerable margin. Granted, this is not as speed-oriented, but we'll see how it goes for them nonetheless.
Well, start of the map, 2 minutes and 9 seconds from now. We will have our decision. Will the United States close this match out, or can Canada hold on for 1 break point and thus potentially 2 more picks? They do have their own after this. If they are able to sneak the break point back in, that is the potential to go all the way up to at least 4. It is a couple of early breaks out of Team Canada here, and that's not something that you want to see, but we are seeing lower accuracy on Toki and Indiana, which does give an opportunity for potentially some breaks there. I'm not counting on Eddie and RNG right now, especially RNG being one of the better aim players, if not the best aim player on the United States team. I'm not anticipating them breaking on the 10.3 aim DT.
Yeah, very solid accuracies from both Eddie and RNG here. Toki the first one to fall on the slider of all things, which does give combo advantage to Canada. But they're going to need a bit more than that. The score lead will slowly shift over, but
I think they need one
it's
more
not
miss.
going to be.
They need 1. It's a minute left in the map. Full combos for Canada right now, holding strong. Birchman finds a break. That's not what you want to see. And there's no trade from the United States halfway through right now. The only player you can really hope to see a break on right now for the United States would even be Indiana, and that's basically just going off of the accuracy. Eddie and RNG making this map look like clockwork. Another day in the office for them. And, well, we get the speed section down at the ending with some of the bursts and the sliders, and I don't think the United States is going to break here if they haven't broken earlier. Canada doing such a good job holding these down. RNG does find a break, but I think it's too little, too late. 200,000 score in favor of the United States. It's a double FC to a double FC. Indiana misses far too late into the map. I think the United States would also have to lose Eddie, and Zucchini does find a break as well. If Canada was able to pull it back, they certainly are not now. Wait a second. Did Canada just lose this map off of a singular break at the ending? I think they did. It is. It's going to be 100K. It would have been the win, I think.
It was shifting over very fast. It's going to be around 90K at the very end, but it is enough for the United States to clinch their spot in the top 3, progressing from the semifinals onwards to the finals weekend, where they are going to be facing off against the other top 3 guaranteed team in Poland, the number 3 seed.
Unbelievable stuff from the United States. Year in and year out, they switch their roster up, they come back, and they do it again. 6-2, United States over Canada. Canada playing very well today. I definitely think that they would have given a lot of teams in this tournament a significant run for their money. I mean, that was a 3.5 million plus team score for Canada on that DT, and still we're not able to pull it out. So the United States really just strutting their stuff in their confidence of this match, as Canada now has to fight their way through the losers bracket to try and get back up to that top 2 positioning. Can they get a repeat of the grand finals from last year? We will see next weekend. There's only one more match left for us this weekend in 4-Digit World Cup 2025. It is going to be the Monday match between Australia and Russia, I believe. Down 12 UTC on Indonesia and Australia. Going to be the 2 teams down in the losers bracket, going to be duking it out now for that 12 UTC Monday slot. We will see you all then, but we're going to take our leave for now. Thank you for joining me for this match, Fiery. It's been a pleasure. Been a great time. We will see you all tomorrow for not only that last match of semifinals, but the finals map pool showcase that will immediately follow. And we will catch you then. Take care, everyone.
Stay tuned for that.